Hi, Papa Don, everyone.
Hello. Can we check the audio, guys? Anyone want to unmute? Everybody, we want to know if we can hear you.
Hello.
Anna?
Thank you, everybody. Hi, can you hear me?
So let's look. Why can't we hear Anna? Anna, talk again? Anna? No. So is your headphones
Sorry,
on?
I wasn't talking just now. I am now.
I think that's what I was asking you to do. 1 second, my dear. Why won't it come to this here? No? Probably not. Okay, let's see what the sound is. Okay, Anna, can you talk for a minute?
Sure. Sorry I missed you guys last week. I was driving home on the highway. Can you hear me now? I said, sorry I missed you last week. I was driving home on the highway.
Oh, but you got the replay.
Yeah, I did. Yes. I had a chance to watch it. Thank you.
Well, all right. Is everybody there? Is everybody, can you speak so we can hear you? Hi, Bernarda.
Hi, I can speak, of course, everyone. But your sound, I think, should be a little louder. Papa Don.
Louder. How do you make it sound louder? I got mine all the way turned up. No, not to me, to her. Oh, she can't hear you? I'm fine. She can't.
No, your sound is just a little low. The volume that we can hear you at is a little low. That's the issue I think Bernard is talking about.
Yeah.
The volume that they hear is a little low. For you? They can't hear you?
We can hear you. It's just your volume is rather low, even when it's turned up high.
Oh, she's just saying that.
All right, now let's try. What just happened, for God's sakes?
Your sound, Yael, is okay.
We're okay now?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So sound is good, forget these.
Yes.
Yes.
Ay, ay, ay. Woohoo!
We have a friend coming, so hopefully he's going to help us figure out this microphone thing once and for all. All right. All right. So let's see. Welcome, everyone. It is May 26th for, I guess,
You get the cards.
earlier today we had Wesak.
Yeah. So I just opened this deck. You know, as we play the gong, we are developing our powers of divination because of the fact that the divine center, the Guru Angel Point, those nerves and those areas of the prefrontal cortex are being developed in humanity right now, hopefully so they'll see the light and stop war and inhumanity to humans. So I pulled these out. Of course, the full moon is different in different places. For instance, in Wesak Valley, now it's gone by, but it's all within a 24-hour period of time. So it's the full moon doesn't wane for a couple of days. So we've got a bookends here. So wherever you do it, whenever you do it, it's the perfect time. I wanted to just review with you, since it's such an important occasion on the when the full moon comes here in California, for instance. We're going to have a celebration, a ceremony, and we invited people to the front yard of Yael's home to be to gather, and where we'll have a 45-minute, perhaps, gong ceremony, and so that they can experience that little explanation of Wesak. So what I thought I would do before we draw a card is to ask you all, what do you know about this celebration that's coming up? That's so important to Gong Masters all over this planet. Anybody want to say anything about this? Well, I've written a little bit in my books about this, so that if you've got my books, then you perhaps will remember what it is when I talk about it. But Gautama Buddha was born, enlightened, and then also passed on the full moon of May, right on the dot. Gautama Buddha was asked, when's he coming back, and what shall we know you by? And the Buddha, apparently, in some versions of it, said, you will know me as Maitreya, the friend to all. And I will be just teaching loving kindness and sharing and caring. So, all right. So everybody's supposed to wait. They're waiting a long time to find out whether the Buddha has returned. Now, metaphorically, he has returned, of course, already, because he has passed on the gong. One of the myths of Gautama Buddha was that he had 3 bowls. The joke was always breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but the 3 bowls really were a triangulation of dissonant harmony together, although he may have eaten out of them as well. But behind him apparently was a gong. And I don't know, it's a myth, but a myth is better than a miss. So it was Tai Loi or Tai Lai. The 2 symbols that we see on the face of the gong mean heaven on earth, or the spiritualization of the material world. Now, the funny part of it is that the gong was discovered how long ago? We think maybe 4,000 years or more ago, the gong was first discovered in the descending Dwapara Yuga, the descending age of bronze. So at that time, they began to smelt metals all over the world and to create metal. So this is how we learn what an alloy is, or an amalgamation of various metallic elementals into a resonant whole, a working together relationship of those particular atoms and all those different elements. So when the gong was discovered, it was apparently he had to honor his contemporary, which was Gautama Buddha at the time in China. So it was to signify the fact that the Buddha without robes on is pure resonant tone, living tone. And this is called the Vak, or the voice of the gong. And this voice is really your inner voice. It's the one voice in all humanity, because it's the same voice that we hear through thinking. And this is all part of the frontal cerebral cortex that's being developed, and why we are such a phenomena in the world of animals and mammals is because we have this frontal cerebral cortex. And it's being energized right now, and it does so through the gong. The gong has been the instrument that we can relate to our one guru within, or one teacher within all of humanity, and that is the universal consciousness that of loving kindness and sharing and caring. That is, when we play the gong anywhere in the world, automatically you may not be feeling so well that day, and you might also be kind of like, everything's going wrong, ta-ta-ka, like that. But when you begin to play the gong, or we play the gong, then immediately we disappear. It's called dematerialization of the ego, so that the soul player, the real gong player, the one gong player, can take over and can let the gong bathe everybody through this funnel of this human being that's offering no resistance to it. So this particular ceremony, or modern ceremony, we call the gong bath, if you like, or the gong total tone immersion, if you like, or however you want to call it. It doesn't matter. But the idea is that when we all receive these proliferating children tones, we call it tone progeny, it's in all the cells of our being and all the cells of their being. So in that way, there is no differentiation. We are one soul in many bodies. So this is what the gong has brought to us at a time when we need it the most. Because the primitive human being, the Homo sapien, that is all wrapped up into politics and God knows, and war and all this stuff and protection, is on its way out. But it needs a little push to help it through the door. So the ones that are doing a little pushing to get that old human being out of the door is the, what I call the Homo luminous spiritualis. That's the next level of being a Homo sapien. And it's been called by different names. But what I believe is that the gong is here at this time in the ascending Dwapara Yuga, the new age of alloy, in order to take this power of living tone resonance that is the actual agency of the transformation that's occurring in the people that we gong for. So, in a sense, the full moon is, for me, I must say, is the coming of the Maitreyan gong, the friend to all. And that's what's going on. It is exploding, of course. But it is a friendly virus. Because, let's face it, we're full of viruses. We're the virus family. We're a collection of viruses, but thankfully they are good viruses. And the gong is also that type of a entity that is universal. So, anyways, this is what I was thinking of today about. We need to make sure, I think, that we pass this on to our students, or to our students of the gong. Because unless the myth of this big change that needs to come about very quickly takes place, we will have messed up totally on this planet. And we cannot go into outer space you see, with these bad ethics of the Homo sapien. So when we go into inner space, the bad mistakes go away. Right. So that was what I was thinking of. Now, these cards I just opened up. The first card is the Great Mother, the Great Om. And we don't usually do this enough, but doing divination is better than playing poker, or another card game. So to do a divination, how do we do it? Well, we can shuffle, yes. We can just put them down, or we can just take them and spread them out there, and then center and reach forward and pick a card. So let's do that. I'll have Yael stop typing for a second and pick a card. Okay. To see. Interesting, huh? Oh, look at that. Wow, really beautiful card. And we could meditate just on that as a yantra while we're playing the gong. That way we could get what we call triangulate. We could actually use this card to speak through the gong. What does it say? The goddess of love. I feel, I respond, I beautify. Unconditional love, intimacy, self-love, relationship, ripeness, open-hearted. So all of these qualities are in here in this one card. Anybody have cards like that? I just didn't know I had them, and I said, well, we have to use them for divination. Oftentimes what we'll do is we'll have different ways to divine, of course. At one time, the pendulum, or using your and seeing which way it rotates. Do you still use a pendulum for your divination? Find out what is right or not right for you. Once in a while, we go back and to do that. And then there are different ways to do that. And one of the ways is very simple. It's called muscle testing. And it's simply, if something's bad for me and my fingers go right, if it's good for me, I can't separate them. So kinesiologists sometimes use this technique when they cannot actually test the muscle of the body. I think our gong players should begin to think more actively about kinesiology. Some of you perhaps know about it, but our innate intelligence, thankfully, is a 24-hour repair intelligence. It is when we're young to grow, and then when we get older to renew. And this intelligence, with all the people that come to our gong experiences, they have this problem that strikes everyone. So that their ego, their defense mechanism, stops the flow of the repair of the innate intelligence to the cells of the body. So this is why I believe that we have spontaneous healings that occur during the immersion in full gong tone. And that is because there's a stoppage of time. So those things that were locking together in a certain rhythm we've established now disengage. And in that moment, we call it the moment of eternity. At that time, the innate intelligence is able to superconduct and to create the spontaneous reestablishment of holistic resonance in that part of the body. A lot of times when we play the gong, we will use our handheld gong. It's a little more convenient for us because that way we can use the gong to scan the body. I know that when I use the one-hand gonging, or the dancing gong, as a healing mode, I will feel where the sound is going in, it's being sucked into what part of the body. And you kind of sense that as you go through the body. And at one time, it'll seem the sound will change as the cells of the body actively absorb more of the sound to strengthen the weakness. So that when we do our sound healing with the gong, we sense or feel that with our innate intelligence, how the energies are flowing in and out. So just now I'd like you, if you would like to share a little bit about maybe what you think, so we can get a feedback. This lesson that we're talking about, of course, is not my lesson. It's a lesson that the teacher within the gong wants us to pass on to other teachers, to inspire them to make that connection firm, and that they will begin to propagate other, what we call gong students, or gong teachers around the world. And of course, they'll get a gong and they'll begin to imitate their teacher, and to do that and pass it on through a golden chain into the future. We feel that if everybody, a certain portion of humanity, can experience the gong in the way that you play it for them, that this transformation will take place, and there won't be any more reptilian territorial inhumanity through the human being. They will really be one mind in many bodies, and that mind, of course, will be the mind of love and wisdom. So, share time. If you would like to now, I'm tired of talking. If not, if you're just not breaking down the barn doors to talk.
Hi.
Yeah. Oh, Bernarda.
Hi.
Bibi. Bernarda Bakula.
I thought Alexandra wants to say
Where's
something.
Alexandra?
You can go ahead, Bernarda, if you want.
So, energy is all space around. We have energy, same old, but we are young. Jar of energy is all the time flow. Can we be in flow all the time? We should try. Yeah, with food, with gongs, with everything what we have used. It's like mathematical speech formula. So, Alexandra, you can talk now.
I didn't have anything special to say, just what, in reference to what Don was saying before about the way we pass the information, the way we pass the wisdom that we learned, absorbed through the years that we studied the gong and all the universe around the gong. And there is one thing that what Don says about the ego, that he said the ego is going to stop this repair. And I can, from my experience of these 7 years playing the gong, I totally agree with Don, because I found myself in few sessions where I knew the ego was playing, it was not me. And maybe it was a session that I took on because of I need to do some work. And so for me, where I am right now with the gong and with my personal process and evolution, I come to the point that I cannot play anymore like this, because the mission that I committed to when I decided to follow Don and learn the gong as well is to come in a pure state. And as much as it's difficult, especially for those people that sound really as the only income that they have, I came to the point where I really need to separate myself from that if I want to keep on going, doing what I wanted to do from the beginning. And so right now, for me personally, I'm in the process where I'm looking for a different job, an office job, to take care of the financial part and keep the gong no more as my only thing. So in this way, I can go in only and when my energy is in tune with what I want to teach. And so for me, these days, this past week, it was very strong because I got to the realization and I'm starting letting go things. And it's costing me a lot because, but I think that what Don said is really the key. We as player, as gong player, or what we're going to embody, we truly have to be pure in our intention to go into this path and bring forward the healing that we want to go forward. Then you can do show business and it's a different thing. But if we're going to embody the gong in the meaning that the gong is, at least for me, I have to let go all that part. And maybe, humble down, find a different job that is going to take care of my financial part and keep the gong pure. That is where I came. And I like that I couldn't attend last week for internet issues, but I'm back here today and it's a perfect class to reassure that what I decided is going to be good. It is the right decision. So thank you, Don.
Valerie.
Hello. Yes, that's it.
Andre.
Yes. Yeah, I want to refer to what Alexandra just said. I think it's very, very important, whatever, kind of, spiritual work you do, you need some sort of financial freedom. If that is your main source of income, then it is always difficult to do whatever you do. But on the other hand, you don't, because you said, you only play when you are in the space. I think when it is provided that you have a steady income from somewhere else, then it is not as important to get into the space before you play the gong, because then the gong is going to get you into that space automatically. The moment I play the gong, unfortunately, I don't have to depend on that gong for income, right? So the moment I play the gong, actually, I'm getting into the flow. And for some magic reason, I'm so connected to myself within the self that all of a sudden the ego has no room. Yeah. And then somehow something plays through me, and everything I thought before is completely void, because in that moment I play differently, and it's like all of a sudden it's just flowing, and it's very magical. But I'm totally with you on the financial part. That's a different story. But sometimes I don't feel like playing the gong, and then I play it, and it's like magical how quickly it just gets you into the moment. And then you connect to that which doesn't move in you, which is always there, has always been there, and will always be there. And that is the magic of the gong for me.
And I agree with you, Andre, because the times that I play and are, let's say, occasion that I play that I really feel I am in the flow, super connected. It's like if my cells, they know my primordial thought, the thought beyond the thought, beyond the thought, the true one. Then my mind is not the one that my mind is elaborating to make a sound as I wanted to hear. That thought behind that. And when I play for this occasion, that I really feel is like this. Even if I don't feel, maybe my back hurts because I have to carry and everything. And in the moment I do the first stroke, I'm completely in the flow. So this sensation, this cellular level that is talking to me is the tool that made me feel and think and act for a decision that I'm acting right now, because it's that level that let me watch out 1 second, observe yourself, observe when you play and when you play, make a list. yes and no, and then think about, and then meditate on it. And that's what I did. And I agree with you. The gong, once you play, it takes you out. But for me, there's also like that primordial thought that my cellular level knows more than me. Yeah. And so I just feel it, that I cannot connect. Maybe it's not the right place. Maybe it's not the right people. They do it just for fun, and they're not there to receive for real, just because it's cool. And believe I'm in a touristic place, so people they're gonna come in maybe because they don't know what to do that night. Yeah. So I need to, for me, in order to be true to what Don is saying, I need to filter. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, and remove the financial part from the gong. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I totally hear you. But then again, for all the others as well, what I find extremely helpful is this document that Dawn has prepared for us in the somewhere, where you just have certain. You wrote down, Dawn, you wrote down some sentences, if the ego is coming in your way and you are trying, or for some reason you are judging about how you play and what it's supposed to be, just, don't pay attention to those thoughts. I don't know how many rules you wrote down there. I think it's about 10. But I mean, they are very helpful if you print them out and just reflect on those. They help a lot. It's amazing. It's very simple, but really magical. Yeah, completely.
All right. So today is a very special day. It's Wesak ceremony day. It happens every year at the full moon of Taurus. And of course, there's a moon before that and a moon after that. That's also important. They're called the triangle, or the 3 moons that we use for meditations around the world. Well, we do meditations from anyway around the world, no matter what. So every day is a perfect day for gonging and meditations around the world. So let me ask you this. What shruti song would be good for today? And maybe those of you who want to, you can play it for me. What I did, I don't know if you can see this, but I put there on my piano there all the shruti songs that I did through divination. Well, it's kind of like divination today, when I picked up all the oldies but goodies. And they're ones that I would love to do as a bead chain of shruti songs, kind of a shruti song kriya, maybe 5 or 6 songs in a row that lead one in through a kind of a golden road. So I did that today. I haven't been able to play them yet, but I thought it might be a good time just to take a little survey. Do you all do that too? Do you have a shruti box or a drone or a tambura or or even a recording of one continuous chord of music? Because right now, that's the secret within the secrets. It's called the secret of the secrets, is one continuous pulsating tone that is a living tone. We have 2 types of tones, don't we? We have the ones that go up the natural harmonic rise, and the tone is burning up and disappearing and going beyond our window of hearing, which is not very big. And the other one is that which fills out these spaces and holds this eternity in a moment like that, in a room, creating a presence. So when we do our final stroke, and then we allow the tone to go to silence and to disappear out of the room itself. One way that I do it usually is that after I hang up the mallets, and then I just receive the receding harmonics that go into It's an area that is similar to the prana that comes from the gong when you hold your hand up close to it. That into this area here, it's the same. And then maybe I'll listen. I'll reach in and I'll grasp the last audible sound before it becomes inaudible to me at all. And then realizing that, of course, I'm a little limited about my hearing. So it's still going on. And so different practices like that help to bring out, I guess, the tone magician within us. So I have my shrutis. Anybody have a shruti? Do you have the shruti books? I think they're on the website, aren't they?
Yeah, Alessandra's raising her hand.
Yeah, and Anna raised her hand too. Yes, go ahead.
So, I guess I'll go. Don, you asked us if we thought there was a shruti that would be appropriate for today. I thought this one talks about a return to love, Shruti 15.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that one's a nice one because it talks about a return to unconditional love, which is, when I think of Maitreya, that's what I think of, just pure love.
Okay, could you do me a favor and share that with everybody?
Yeah, I could screenshot it.
No, read it.
Read it. Read it. Okay, just read it.
Read it in your best Shruti voice.
Or well, no, read it in your old or new voice.
Let's return to love. We are powerful beyond measure. Playing small does not serve the world. We are all meant to shine as children do. Let our light shine. Let others be free to do the same. When we are liberated from our own fear, our presence alone will liberate others. We must return to unconditional love.
Woo-hoo! All right. So it's not quite a 4-quatrain Pauke Tai Loi like on the face of the gong when the bad goes, the good comes. It's not like that. It's a little bit longer than a koan, a short thing sometimes. But okay, and then of course you play the gong. That was the seed thought, the universal thought. And then we play the gong. And then sometimes we'll do a shruti after the gonging. When people come back renewed and reborn, so to speak, and innocent and pure and waiting for the instructions of their higher self to lead them in life. What song would you do at the bookend? We call it hypnagogic, the front one, hypnopompic at the one at the end, the bookend at the end. So, anybody want to choose one for the?
I've always
go ahead.
I've always enjoyed let me be an instrument for thy peace. I don't know all the words to it by heart, but I've always enjoyed hearing that at the end. I know it's affected me very strongly, so I think it's a good one at the end.
Do you mean make me a channel of your peace?
Yes, thank you, yes.
Where there is hatred, let me sow your love.
Yes.
Where there is darkness, let me bring light.
Mm-hmm.
Where there is injury, healing.
You know, we really love to play inside of acoustical spaces. So, although in one sense that it's without walls, in another sense is that we use whatever walls we're in to reinforce the sound, what we call the synesthetic touch of the sound in the room. So that's a very nice one as well. Oh, it really is a wonderful thing to find out what would be the one for the Wesak ceremony. Remember, it's called, I think, the Great Invocation. There are different versions of it, of course, and I did my own version as well. Now, when Benjamin Creme was around and embodied, he channeled one of his channelings. I think you probably remember him.
Benjamin what?
Maitreya, Benjamin Creme. He's no longer with us, but while he was here, he was always channeling the masters of the path, the masters of wisdom. And of course, he would start and end, I think, with the Great Invocation. This was channeled by which wonderful woman? Alice A. Bailey. She was also the one who channeled, and Madame Blavatsky, again, the divine feminine force coming to us through them, also talked about the coming day of world peace. And it seems to all come together for us gong players, even in the moment. So there are different ways that we do the shruti songs. I'm looking now on page 14, the Vak of the world. The art and skill of overtoning, mantra weaving, and shruti singing. Isn't that juicy? Oh, it's wonderful. Shruti singing and the Global Gong Mantra Sutra. People have asked me, well, Don, what is that? And what it is a tantric weaving, a nada. I call it nada tantra weaving. And as we approach 2025, I think it'll catch on more, because people can weave their mantras. And sometimes what we'll do in our classes is that we'll ask everybody to chant their own personal song or mantra or affirmation, and each person will be simultaneously chanting like a different thought their particular mantras or shrutis. And then you, as the conductor of ceremonies, can then go and just gesture towards somebody, meaning that you then, like pulling a sound out of a gong, you take that gong of people and you bring that one out of the hole and let it go back into the ocean, and then another one over here to bring up and to bring down. When we say, I'm a gong, you're a gong, we're a gong, it means that we have a technique that we can use in our public gatherings to make more of a, what I call the mystery theater, the initiation theater, out of that time that you are playing the gong. So there's different things that we can do with it. It's in this book, and you can read about it. I don't want to read it to you, but there's singing in glossalia, non-semantic voice, and of course, overtoning. Now, we might as well discuss that a little bit. Do you have any experiences in doing that and using that? You know, glossalia has different names, of course. We call it angel talk as well. So back in the day, what we would call the holy rollers in the some of our Christian faiths, they would get together and they began to speak in voices, channeling the sounds that come through. This is called glossalia, but also we do this when we're overtoning. I was just working on something yesterday I wanted to share at some point with you about how to master the voice of overtoning, um, and about channeling that into your Capri, or into your singing bowl that's called the top of your head. So the other one that it's very important for us gong players and teachers should do is to really find some time to do call and response with the people that come to hear your gong, to get them actively involved if it's convenient, uh, is a plus. So getting them, you do a shruti, they have to respond to it. Okay. The other one that's very important as we grow and expand around the world is to translate our Sanskrit mantras or Gurmukhi mantras, or what it might be, to the native tongue of the people who are there, if not in English. The other one that is important for us to research and investigate of changing the key that we're playing our shruti boxes in. And this is important because of the fact that we have comfort zones. And so here this one is open to a C and a G and a C1, which is the low as it can get. But I like DNA for some reason. Maybe it's just, kind of a thought that, so I'll open up DNA and I'll use that DNA to do my shrutis with, or a C sharp. I'll use a C sharp sometime, so that you can begin to explore the different chords, because every note that we do, if we practice on the shruti box, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but what I'll do is I'll start with this, and it's a good practice. I have one hole open at the bottom, and I'm going to use that hole. And of course, the hum is how we begin. And from the hum, or the om, comes the ong, or the word. From om comes ong, from I offer you peace. Oh yes, I do. So from that point, you can then get into spiritual free jazz, which is allowing the spontaneous moment to do your singing for you. So, so what we would do is have everybody's singing a different shruti in the ocean of shruti, and then we can just bring out the flying shrutis out of the ocean into the air and solos. So these are all part of our progress of becoming the master of shruti. And
On?
yes, Andrew.
Yeah, you were talking about call and response.
Uh-huh.
And the call and response, so you would do the entire shruti yourself, and then you would have them respond with the entire shruti as well. Or do you split up the shruti if it has more than 2 lines, that you are singing one and then the others are singing one?
Well, sometimes we cut to the quick. I just picked up Shruti 15. Let's return to love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And on the back of that is another one I use. If I give my love to you, would you love me too?
Mm-hmm.
If I give my heart to you, would you give yours too? Live for love, live for peace. Be with peace. Peace will be with you. So that particular shruti was written by a friend of mine, Fatima Marian Tortorella. I put it in the selection because I liked it so much. So what you can do is you can excerpt. Let's Return to Love is pretty long, it's like, but
Yeah.
so you might just do a divination and pick something out, one of it, and just one line. We are powerful beyond measure. Playing small does not serve the world. That thought would be a what we call a shruti, or a revelation, or sometimes in the hippie days we would call it the flash. All right, and so you might do that, and then they can hear you do it, and now you say, now I want to do a call and response with you, and then I would just simply say, okay, we are powerful. There you go.
We are powerful.
Beyond measure.
Mhm.
I'm breaking things up into what we call their atomic parts.
Yeah, yeah.
Playing small does not serve the world. So you can break it up into any syllables you want to, or to repeat again, or to change the pitch from let our light shine, let our light shine, let our light shine. Okay? So you can ham it up a little bit more, even. Yeah? So that's the way to do the shrutis. The one that is so important for everybody right now is some version, which you might choose from the Shruti book, from the point of light. Originally, it was written in a more of a kind of sexist way, I thought. It was so male, 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 male. But people didn't care. But now we can say from the point of light, within the mind of this is it. So here we got people who are atheists that play gong, really, and they don't. God is kind of like, gong bit better than God. So they say from the point of light within the mind of the one, let light stream forth into all minds, etc., so that we can, what we call, paraphrase or rephrase it into our own words. So if you want to do it strictly the way that it was written by the source, and then extend the source through your personality and through your freedom of choice, and to do it however you want to do it, and maybe do it in the three voices sometime. I offer you peace. I offer you peace. Now that was the voice of the whisper, the lover beloved voice. And the third voice would be a projection out mentally of I offer you peace. So what you can then is go ahead and investigate the different levels in the ocean of consciousness, whether it's the bottom, middle, or top. So it's nice.
And the same applies to the translated mantras then, right? Instead of a shruti, you can translate the mantras into your native tongue and then kind of segment them as well.
Yeah. Now, of course, we have been told that there's nothing more powerful than the pure Sanskrit.
Yeah.
Or the pure Gurmukhi, or whatever it is. And it's true that that alphabet that is distinct for every different religion, etc., and country, they all we useful. Sometimes when I'll do a shruti, I'll do it in English, and I'll do it in glossalia, which will be angel talk, or gibberish, you might call it. And then I would, if I could do it in Latin, I would. Each time would be a different type of what we call tone massage. as we
It's
do.
12 o'clock.
Okay, it's 12 o'clock.
So the glossalia that you're talking about, is that the voice of the beloved? Automatically you would kind of whisper then, or is that just the result of?
It could be something to. We talk about being carefree, so it's a carefree type of thing. So there you go. So I know that you knew what I was saying in the heart of your hearts. So remember this, that there is a heart that we talk about, but it's the heart at the bottom of the heart. When we sing, I love you from the bottom of my heart, well, actually, it's true. That when we center ourselves in our heart, the soul center is at the bottom of the heart, not the top of the heart. So it has a relationship like that. Be free and get a call and response going so that you can become more liberated, because now the one becomes the all. So the people that are there you can feel that this great spirit of the all of those that are there existing in the what we call the standing wave of the space that we're in. So we say that's when the so-called magic happens. Yeah? Anybody? Hello? All right. So from the point of light is, who does that for at these times? We do it at the drop of a hat all the time, but specifically for now, at this time, we do. Do you have that script with you?
It's in the Gong teaching.
Or can you look at in the teachings for the from the point of light?
Which shruti number is it? Hmm?
27.
Sorry, guys.
It's 27.
Sorry, guys. In the training is winter or spring session that we can look.
No, the Gong teachings.
The Gong teaching, okay.
Under shruti. Here we go.
Oh, I have
Shruti
to find it.
27. Here, I'm pulling it up. Here we go. I'm sharing my screen.
I love this one here. We're waiting for that, but yes. I just love this shruti a lot. The heart is right to cry even when the smallest drop of light of love is taken away. Well, perhaps we may kick and moan and scream in a dignified silence, but we may do so in any fashion until love returns to us. This is a wonderful one to do to open the hearts of the people who.
What number is that?
Oh, that was Shruti 56.
So here you have the Great Gong Invocation.
Okay, so there it is. So what I did my version of it, because the other one I felt was sexist, and I didn't like the idea. I wanted to take out that so that there's no barriers. So this was that attempt. So anybody want to do it? Yeah.
Is someone gonna do it?
So
Like what?
remember how we started.
Why doesn't each person take a line, and then we'll do a call and response?
All right. Let's do it in my this key there of C sharp. If you have your shruti box with you. Now, a lot of people, when they play the shruti in performance and they give you a microphone, etc., a lot of the times the person is going to have the sound go out the front like that. I advise against it, because if you really want to do it in a yogic fashion, you'll make sure that the sound rays go directly into your front chakras, because the shruti box is only necessary for you, or for to do that. So he creates that magic of tone with you. From the point of light,
From the point of the light,
within the universal mind,
within the universal mind,
let light stream forth into our minds.
let light stream forth into our minds.
Let love stream forth into all hearts.
Into
Spiritual love, spiritual love, return to earth. Spiritual love, return to her. Let purpose guide our little will.
that's low.
That purpose which every master knows and serves.
And serves.
And from the center, which we call the one humanity,
We call the one humanity.
the one humanity,
One humanity.
let the plan of love and light work out.
Love and light, love and light.
And may it seal the door where darkness dwells.
See the door where darkness.
But I'm being interrupted here, but so you see the change of the original great invocation of Alice A. Bailey. I have altered a bit. So there are some people who are sticklers to doing it the way it was originally done, but I have changed it to be more closer to our present generation. Okay. For instance, at the end it says, let light and love and healing power restore the sacred plan upon a sacred earth and heal ourselves as well. Oh. Now, sometimes what you can do is you can look at these, the libretto here, and just look at the vowel sounds. I'm going to be teaching this in the next thing about how to overtone. And so it says from the point of life. So if I just take the vowels out of it, I know it sounds terrible to you, but I was just doing that unesthetically, just so that I can chew the vowel sounds, and which is the secret to of course, to getting the overtones to come out. So feel free. This is called spiritual free jazz. You don't have to do it the same way each time. In fact, when people do a mantra 1,000 times, maybe you'll, or 999 times out of that may become one moment in there where the gates will open. So that's it. I think we went over time again.
No, you still have another 25 minutes.
All right. So, what do you think? It's your turn.
Someone who hasn't spoken yet.
Do you have any questions that you want to ask or present here to our body of gong players? Anything that you would like to ask, and then we can see if we. Yes, Marianne.
So, I had the privilege this weekend to play for a little girl who's healing from cancer. And it was really beautiful because her mom is a Kundalini teacher from Greece. And her mother led us in breath work beforehand, and you could see it was like the first time in 7 months that she got to be herself, because they quit their jobs and they brought their daughter to the United States for treatment. And the little girl's response was so beautiful and amazing, and she can't really walk very well anymore, and she was like doing the breathing with her mom, or trying to. And the mom said it's the first time in 7 months that she didn't think about death, because she was out of time with the gong. And then later, after they left, some other friends came over and we played again. And I had this experience, and I don't know, like, I'm extremely new to this. I just got my gongs like a week and a half ago. And when I was playing, somehow, like, really, I don't know if you've seen, like, in churches or like in Santeria, like people fall out, like so most of my experience has been in receiving, and it's just the most magical thing, which made me want to get gongs to be able to give this to other people. But that when I was playing and you would hear the progeny happen, I was almost like losing my balance. Like I felt like I was going to like fall out. I don't know what else to call it. And I was just wondering, does this happen to anybody else? Is this like, because I'm just learning and I'm still trying to figure out how to not just be a receiver, but a giver? Or what is the relationship as you, anyway.
It's difficult to stay on your feet, isn't it? That's why everybody lies down in corpse pose just in case. Yeah. But how about how about it? Somebody want to respond?
Because when I was playing for her, the only way that I could participate, because I feel like I don't have enough experience, is I just kept playing her name and heal. So I was really grateful for the Enneagram. So I felt like I had something, focused to contribute, because I don't think I'm ready to do spiritual free jazz for something like this, but it really felt powerful to keep playing her name and the word heal over and over again. But then later I was just playing because it was just some friends and there was no anything, and I just kept having this like I don't even know. It's like the kind of out of body experience you have when you're receiving a sound bath. And how do you deal with that as somebody who's playing? Yeah, I don't want to fall over. Does this happen to anybody else? Am I weird? Like what?
Just a few things. You want to make sure that you have eaten something before you play. Don't do it on an empty stomach, just also in terms of blood sugar levels. And then also sometimes what people will do is they'll put some grounding crystals around their gong stand. So if you're into crystals, you can always consider placing some crystals either around the gong stand or even just in your pocket, or wearing one. Not so much the, crown chakra, third chakra type of crystals, but more grounding, earthy ones. So that might be helpful as well. Also, using the essential oils as spraying can also keep you, they can help transform and translate the journey, but they can also clarity, like lemon is very good to just, it's very refreshing and uplifting, but it's also can keep you present. So those are my suggestions.
Also, so we're going to do the great invocation at our lawn party that we're having to celebrate this particular time of the year. So I'll have my bowls. I guess you might are doing the same thing. I'll have my conch shell. We want to have a lesson in conch playing. It's really important to upgrade all the time. So how to use the conch in ceremony. And we have our bowls. We'll have our gongs. I'll have my shruti box, and I'll pick out, of course, from the point of light, which is kind of traditional, and then I might pick out something. I'll do the I'll offer you peace with everybody. We'll do a short gong yoga exercise to relate to maybe the time of the day that we're doing the gonging. So we'll exercise that specific muscle or muscles. And we'll do the very short ones because we must make sure that we keep everything down to like in a certain area of time. And then I guess everybody in the front yard is going to lie down, and then we'll do a full gonging. We've invited some people that were in the neighborhood here to come and join us. Who's joining us with this gonging?
As gong players?
Yeah, for the occasion, for the...
John 9 of House of Gong and Susie Navarro, who are just local gong people here.
Yeah. So, and of course, the wonderful thing about it is that, gong players just don't need rehearsals. They sort of like do a kind of, and then, isn't it true? And then we just sort of like fly with
To be
it.
fair, I did invite them over for supper to do some
Pre-planning, yeah.
pre-planning.
Yeah, because we have to look at her new front yard that the guy's been working so hard to get together for this occasion. How many people? Around 20 people coming?
We're up to 30.
30 people. Woohoo! All right. So that's what we're doing for this Wesak. Now, if you are planning something to do, then just make it very, very intimate with yourself, and to do a short ceremony to tune into. The idea of the Wesak ceremony was always that all the people from around the world will go into their savasana or their dream body at the time that is actually happening in the Wesak Valley, near Tibet border, and they would then project. We would teleport ourselves to that Wesak Valley, where all the people dressed in white are doing certain ceremonies and waiting for the dispensation to come. And of course, each one is a new influx of energy to humanity. And of course, we are building up to a climax of 2025, where the fourth ray of the tone healer, which is us, is going to be open much wider. And there will be more chance of quantum transformation globally. So that's supposedly in 2025. That's happening according to these prophecies. But each one that we do, even every day, is really doing that every day. All right. So there we have that. What else do we want to share today? Anybody have a request?
Melanie.
Okay.
No?
Yeah?
No, she said no.
I have a question, Babadan.
Yeah.
When we play gong with two mallets, if it is phlegm, it sounds nice. But if we play with two mallets in same time, what about this? Some of my colleagues before told me it's not good.
Well, what did you tell them?
I didn't tell anything. I was beginners.
Oh, we're the beginner. So yes, well, misinformation, they say, we have to be careful as teachers, because if you're a teacher and you pass out misinformation, you know where those teachers go, and not to nice place. So this is called ethics. So when somebody says something and they're walking in the shadows of their life, and they say, don't do this and don't do this and yaman yaman, what they're doing is they're putting you into a box. It's called malpractice. It's called also black magic. So the idea is that what we're doing is we are dematerializing the boxes that people are in. So the wise thing to do is not to create another box that you put somebody in. We're not trying to convert somebody to a religion. So we don't have to give them these very strong, moral, whatever it is. That is called malpractice. So we avoid doing that. Although it is true that some gong players are maybe dyed in the wool devotees of this Hindu god or that Hindu god, like that. But the idea is never let come out of your mouth something that doesn't feed the soul of the person. So that type of expression is just due to what we call innate ignorance or maya.
Wait, never let that which comes out of your mouth be what?
What comes out of your mouth feeds your soul. So I'm sorry about that, Bernarda, but we say when somebody says something like that, and they know that we're gullible and we're open and we're loving, is we say we have a city that we use, that we give to the people who come to the Gong experiences to help them. And it's a very, I don't know, translated in any language, we say, now just let the sound go right through you as though you weren't there at all. Do you understand the power of the suggestion?
Yeah.
So that covers a lot of things that might be distortions or misinformation.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just was looking here, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but Shruti 129, it's called The Spark, or My Law. I don't know if you have that one or not. It's a very long one. Sometimes I abbreviate it. But as a whole, it was given to me personally by the Maori women of New Zealand when I was there. And so, like, I took the universal greeting that I would then have to pass it out to everybody, you see. So this is one of the things that it's called the spark, my spark, the law. And it's a wonderful one. It's a long one, but at the end of it, we can just cut to the quick, okay? You are your own devil. You are your own God. You fashioned the paths your footsteps have trod, and no one can save you from error or sin until you have looked to the Spirit within. So that was the last one, but each one is a little gem and jewel. I don't know if we have it or not out there, but yeah. You might tackle that sometime. Of course, you could adorn this with a lot of ornaments. For instance, we have our tingshaws, we have our bowls. So when we do a power phrase, you are your own devil, you are your own God. Oh, what sound effect could I do at that time in order to deliver it on another level into the superconscious of the person? So it might be my bowl, or if I was, don't have it anymore, or a didgeridoo, or whatever you want to do to add in to create the unforgettable moment where you remember that when you fell in love, that unforgettable moment. Well, what you're doing is that you're creating that moment each time. Yeah. So you might consider that as a shruti. Okay, so look, how many of you have to translate the English into a native tongue for the people in your area who perhaps, I don't know, some people don't. Yeah, Bernarda, you do it? Yeah. So this changes things a little bit. So you have to roll with the punch. Whatever it is that makes the difference is that you have the poetic license to create it. Like with the spark that was given to me, it's all in rhyme. Now you can't translate that into another language and get the rhyme. So it has to be more free verse instead of a poetry rhyme. But it doesn't matter, it's the thought that counts. Okay.
We have 6 minutes left. Has anyone been practicing Phi, Pi, or E this week?
Oh, all right. Yeah. Well, we have this fella who's we invited. Last night we both went to visit him. It's only a half hour away, and he has a studio which he has one of the world's biggest gongs. It's one of those huge gongs that the ancients had with the bulb in the center and the 8 around it. It's a number 9 gong. And then he has my number 9 gong with it, which has 9 around, and the 10th one is in the center. But and it's a big one, 36-inch one. I said, wow, I'd like to play that. So he has these gongs around, but he also has a lot of electronic equipment and a lot of boards, for instance, on like a huge TV screen based with, I think, 24 panels. Like here we have only 12, 14, 15 panels. But what I was thinking of doing, since he has all of this wonderful things, is that we could have somebody from a different country on each panel, and he could hook it up so that we're all live with each other, and we can do then a out-of-body concert for humanity. It would be a nice thing to do. So we'll see what happens with that. Anybody want to share anything? Any questions? Next time now. Tie a string around your finger now. Next time, I want you to throw a question into our pond so that we can see who's going to answer it and how we're going to answer it, so that we might begin to more actively share oh, look, there's a picture. Oh, there's the studio.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, you're a whiz. There he is. There's the man. There.
How do you hear?
We were attacked by aliens.
That was horrible. Hold on. Let me mute you.
All right, so that was a nice experience, and we didn't have a picture of the big gong behind us, but it was a huge, huge gong. He made special ornate stands for it to be. It was quite nice. All right. So, questions. So, you will have to ask a question, please. Just one that might be a good answer to get some different opinions on, reflections, and that so that you can share that with your people. Okay. All right.
Can they hear you? Yes, we can hear you. Okay, so what's the homework for this week?
Number one, bring a question next time. Okay. Promise? You'll do it? Everybody? Andre, you'll do it? Okay, thank you.
I have a question now if you want.
Review this thing again, all the things that we talked about. Learn how to paraphrase. In other words. What I'm really saying is, in other words, begin to think about, because this is called the Jacob's ladder of analogy. It is a ladder that reaches into the higher realms, which we call the mind of the Homo Luminous Spiritualis, the new human. So go ahead and begin to experiment in those ways. Also, remember with your shruti, different voices to use, and always remember to hum. And then as you get to certain diphthongs, and we'll get into that next week, I'll have it ready for you. But if you know, it's got to be true. Remember to be playful. Be playful while you're doing it. All right, so.
Goodbye, everyone.
We'll see you next time. Bring your question, and we're going to be getting more into playing with the Inya phone, the hidden, never-ending irrational fractions that make up the unseen world of our universe. So that's going to be it's a good adventure. Anna? Marianne?
Sorry. Are we
Everybody? Andre?
Anna's not. We
Melanie?
can't hear Anna. She's trying to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead. If you see she has a question.
Yeah, but
All right.
Can you hear her?
Can you hear me?
Can't we hear her?
Gail?
Anna?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I was just wondering, or if I'm confused, are we meeting Thursday, with performances? Or is that my thinking?
was that Thursday? Is it in the schedule?
That's why I'm asking.
I don't know.
I didn't have it on the books, but let me look.
I enjoyed watching some of you did your presentations and you put it on Facebook, didn't you? How many put their performance on Facebook?
Yeah, no, it's not this Thursday.
All right.
Okay. All right, then it's my mistake.
All right.
Are we supposed to put our performances on there?
On
Okay.
Facebook, yes.
Yes.
I posted three.
so- And then also comment and watch other people's performances. Thea, you put in 3. Good job. Way to be proactive this week. Well done. With the masks, with the phi. Nicely done. So yes, watch Thea's get inspired. Put yours on there as well. All of these practices are just adding to your,
Repertoire.
repertoire.
All right. I hope you enjoyed today, and we'll see you again next time. Remember, if you want to ask more than one question, so that, let's say that Bernarda has a question and she throws it out there, or she may say, Andre, would you answer this? And then Andre's on the spot. So we'll see. You can be directed to anybody who wants to or somebody specific. All right. Love you all. Be in peace.
Thank
Keep it
you.
going.